Nobody. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, once again. Good old Sunday morning, and I got a good old Sunday message for you. I want you to sit back and relax because I got some wonderful, wonderful news to give to you. First, I want to be able to share some stuff with you that have crossed my mind over the past several days, stuff that I've heard on the media, stuff that I've gotten from people just in conversation, and I'm sure that you perhaps have shared some of these same ins and outs. Just want to give some point of view from the perspective of an advocate for basic human rights for all people. Hope that maybe you could identify with some of them. But the most important part is the last part, and I don't want you to miss this. Some of you might say, well, why don't I give that first? No, say the best for last. Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. I made some notes, and I'm just going to refer to them. I'm going to adhere to them because they are so significant in what I'm trying to, the message that I bring. So, if you will. Well, my notes begin with, leave the governor alone. That it's time for us, the people of the United States, to focus on the real. Now, the governor that I'm talking about is Governor Nordstrom. They say he, you know the story, Blackface, this and that. Governor of Virginia. Now, what he did, he said, and the people are saying this was a terrible thing, but I'm sure it's no more terrible than probably every white person has done. Maybe not that particular act, and yet many have done that. But said or done something that even today perhaps they would be sorry for you if it was discovered or that they had done these things. And to think that you can say, well, I've learned from the experiences in my life and I ask that you will forgive me for some of the stuff that I did was kind of stupid and can find no mercy there. That is a nation that is probably on the wrong track. And I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that perhaps we shouldn't focus on that so much, knowing that there is very few that are innocent. I think personally that it's morally repugnant to come on the governor this way. When you have a president of the United States who's done much, much more vicious in condemning things, hurtful things, and we have that the Republicans have not called for the president to step down, and yet Democrats want to pretend as if they got a higher moral ground by standing up doing the opposite of what the Republican Party has done. If you think I'm faking it, as Al Franken, they want get this out of here, and Republicans keep them there. I say that doesn't make the Democratic Party look good to the Democratic people. What I'm saying that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party should do is more focus on those things that are real. That if you're going to punish anyone for some things that they've done, then hold them to the promises that they have made. And this alone, this in itself, will take care of most of the things that have been said. But ladies and gentlemen, I think time would be better served if you encourage the presidential candidates, Republicans and Democrats alike, to come before the people, not based upon anything that is normal, but to come before the public and offer a proposal to meet the basic needs of all citizens, rather than counting on name recognition or how much money you've raised, how much money people have given you to. And if the people, the candidates, if they can't do it, if they can't come up with a proposal that would address these concerns, then I think you, the people, should do it. You should come up with a proposal. You should choose selectively as you determine who would represent you, the people, who have determined the proposal, who will be that voice that sees that these things get implemented while we go on in our lives, but keeping our eyes on you to make sure that there is no chaos. What I'm basically saying to the people of America, you must be boss. You got to stop being the servant. You must be boss. And to choose someone to represent you the people. Because most of you say, what do we want? How many have addressed that question? How many times can you imagine that across the board that question has been addressed? People saying, what is it that you really want? Have you gone to the white people and said, what is it that you really want? I'm not talking about the hierarchy of the white people. I'm talking about white people. And ask them, what is it that you really want? Have you gone to the black people and asked them, what is it that you really want? Have you gone to the Asian people, the African people, the Indian people? Have you gone to all of the various groups of people, as you want to call them, and ask them, what is it that you want? None of them know what the other is saying. You ask them, what is it that you want? And you come back to the table and you compare. And you will find, my friends, that they all want the same identical thing. They all want the same identical thing. If you ask them, how do you achieve this? They will come up with all kinds of ways. Those ways will be predicated based upon their indoctrination, the environment that they've been exposed to. Now that would be quite different. The only problem is, and in each of those situations, you will find that the people, under those conditions, that each of them, wherever they are, under those conditions, the people live where there's some on top, where there's poverty, and there's crime, and there's violence. All of this exists. And so the question becomes, if you're going to give this up, and you really truly want what you say you want, and you respect the others' right to exist and experience theirs as you would your own, you have to ask the question, how do we do it? How do we do it? The answer, I tell you, my friends, will not come from John or Harry or Isaiah. It will not come from that. It will come from a spirit. It will come from a spirit. And I'm telling that to those of you who don't even believe in spirits. But what do I mean when I say it will come from spirit? I'm saying to you, it will come because your heart has been changed. Your heart is being changed. Your heart is going through a metamorphosis compared to the way things have always been. And because it is, there is something that's becoming pure in your heart. And when purity is there, then that which is pure, which is truth, can connect. And what you had all the time and didn't know it will become something that's obvious. And what would that be? That you would do unto others as you'd have others to do unto you. And what does that mean? That means taking the resources. Oh, my friends, let me tell you, that was the good part I was going to tell you about. This is what I am all about, the message that I am all about. And when I say you should become boss and make sure that certain things are done, what are those things? I'm talking about freedom. Number one, freedom. Man, every last one of those groups wanted that. Peace. Ooh. Prosperity. And joy. They all wanted that. And if you ask them, what do you mean about that? Then they all agreed, my friends, that it was expressed in the effort that is made to guarantee those essentials required for survival. They wanted to survive. And that involved, those essentials are common amongst the board: food and clothing and shelter, education and health care. And their careers, my friend, Careers of choice which have been designed in such a way that everything that they do engages them in the creative process of all of those goods and services that they have determined and the power of creation have determined are essential for their survival. And it's joy in doing it. Hey, my friends. Ooh-wee. All of these needs are met. And in so doing that, understand, there will be no need. There will be no profit from lying, from cheating, from stealing, from terrorizing and killing. And in essence, the rest of life is governed by the imagination. Governed by the imagination. Governed by the imagination. And the rest of the world, the rest of America, is there to support you. I'm talking about the opportunity to go anywhere in the world that you desire, to live anywhere in the world that you desire, to travel any way means that you desire, whether it's air, whether it's land, whether it's water, or whether it's a time machine. Hey, it's all right there, ladies and gentlemen. The future is in our hands, and every last one of us want to share in it. But we got to change our ways. We got to change our thinking. I just described it to you. I don't want to repeat it. It's just right there. And I'm not asking to be your president. When I was a younger man, I asked. But I didn't fit the bill. No one wanted to hear this kind of wonderful news. It messed with the program. It messed with the con. But what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you become boss, this will actually be required of you to make you any different than anything that have happened in the past. And it will be noteworthy that the people will be so proud of themselves and what they have done for themselves by the Spirit of truth, by the Spirit of love, and by the Spirit of God, who, my friend, has finally received man's spirit that has been aligned with God. I want to thank you so very much. I hope I said something. You know, I really do. It means so much to me. And it should mean so much to you, because I know for a fact that that's what you want. And I know for a fact you probably have never heard a description like that as a means of achieving it. And you maybe have. I haven't. And even though it sounds beautiful and wonderful, it sounds unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because the American people have been taught over decades to eliminate the consideration of God in any social dispensation unless you're trying to get away with something. They don't want to talk about it in the schools. They don't want no prayer. They don't want any of these things going on. And then, my friends, they try to adhere to a pledge of allegiance that has really nothing to do with God, and convince people separation of God from their daily social, economic lives. Separate that. You can go, they permit you to praise Him in your way as far as going in a building and talk about Him. It reminds me of yesterday I heard a preacher talking about in their church, you can come when the Spirit hits you. You can run all over the place. You can run all down the aisles with your hands up, shouting and flipping over benches if the Spirit so leads you. And as he was saying that, I know you know people who've done that. I see them all the time. But I'm just thinking about, now what does that have to do with guaranteeing people the wonderful things of God, the way of God? How is that helping anybody to stand up against a system that denies people health care, that denies people shelter, that denies people life, that denies people justice. How can run up and down the aisle do anything for that? It just seemed to me that anybody should see a God that addresses their concern. Their concern, as I just described, is the same. And running up and down the aisle, what it does? Does it put something in your mind that says all right? Does it put something in your mind that convinces you that if you can just shout and run up and down the aisle long enough and loud enough, that when you cross this life, some beautiful arms will be there to receive you? Did they tell you that when you get there, that you don't have to do anything to maintain this heavenliness that you've been waiting on? Did they tell you that you didn't have to stand up for what was right and just there as, well, you didn't stand up here? Be the boss. Bye-bye.